Hello, everyone. So today we're going to be reading through and going through the email communication guide for etiquette. And let's go ahead and get started with the first section. Okay, let's begin. Written communication guide. Emails. Understanding the art of sending and receiving emails is an extremely important part of the everyday communications and business to business settings, as well as in all of our personal lives. An errantly sent email could do irreparable damage to someone's personal life and even go as far as to ruin a business career. Always take for granted that any email you may send is a permanent record that could be viewed by anyone. Always err on the side of caution in any written communication. Proper email communication has become a necessary skill for almost every professional career. This guide is designed to assist you with the following areas: proper email structure, general tips and resources, and email etiquette. Okay? Moving along to email structure. The hierarchy of recipients. As strange and as petty as it may seem, the addressing of emails is always a consideration in a business communication environment. Even though the information is the same, a hierarchy of recipients should be considered. List the most important person needing the information in the to position. That is not always the most important person receiving the email, such as the CEO, as the CEO may just be receiving the information as a for your information, an FYI function, and may just be listed in the CC. Example: the most important person needing the information in the to could be the groundskeeper, and the CEO may just be copied in the CC on a need-to-know basis. If there are three people of similar status, let's say like the CEO, the CFO, and the general manager, they should be noted in some type of hierarchy sequence in the to line, while others needing the information can probably be randomly listed in the CC. Even changing the randomness of the recipients in the CC list can result in a positive reaction, though probably never voiced. Here are the examples: CC Bill, Susan, and Andrea. CC Susan, Andrea, and Bill. CC Andrea, Bill, and Susan. This randomness removes gender and implied importance, such as, why am I always listed last? People notice. Starting an email. Enter recipient's name and or addresses. CC. Carbon copy means computer copy or courtesy copy. Enter the email addresses of the additional people you want to know about in the email. Remember, everyone will see his or her names and possibly their email addresses. A BCC is a blind carbon copy. Blind computer copy. Blind courtesy copy equals enter the email addresses of the people you want to know about the email, but not announce to everyone else. The recipients in the to line and the CC line that these people are getting a copy. Important note about BCC. No one that receives a blind carbon copy knows who else received a blind carbon copy of the same email. The copy you receive does not identify itself as being a blind carbon copy. You can only tell by the fact that you are not listed as the to recipient, nor are you the CC recipient. Clarification. If you would send an email to your boss in the to and CC everyone in your department, and then blind BCC everyone in your company, no one in your company would know that everyone else in your company received the same email. They will all see the recipients both in the to and the CC. Easy way to send yourself a copy. Sending a blind carbon copy of an email to your email address is a good way to maintain an original copy. There is no indication that you sent the copy to yourself to the recipient. Subject line. Summarize the main idea, but avoid meaningless one-worded subject lines such as help or meeting. Instead, an appropriate subject line might be expense form due by Friday at 5 p.m. or task force meeting Thursday, May 28th. Type in uppercase and lowercase as you would in a title. Never use a complete sentence or leave the subject blank. Of an email. In formal writing, use the first name of a recipient. No name for reply chain. Retain some casual qualities like personal pronouns, contractions. It's conversational. Example: I've read your excellent proposal. I predict the administrators will approve it. Formal writing. Use dear and full name of recipient or good morning or good afternoon. Maintain distances between writer and reader. Avoid personal references and contractions. Example: the proposal is excellent. The executives are likely to approve it. Moving on to email structure. Conciseness. Begin directly for most emails. Use bullets when appropriate for easier viewing. Keep sentences and paragraphs short. Many read emails on their phone. Use words economically. Clarity. Practice clear writing techniques and use simple, clear language. Courtesy. Build goodwill. Avoid angry emails. Correctness. Check for grammatical and formatting errors. Now, off to closing an email. Informal. The writer's name or no name for a reply chain. More formal: thanks, regards. Formal: sincerely. And signature block should have name, title, company name, website link, phone number, email address, and LinkedIn address. Here's some email tips. Try composing offline in Word or other word processing programs. Copy and paste your completed email message into the body into an opened email. By composing offline and saving, you can easily edit the email for additional uses. Read your email out loud to catch grammatical errors and organization issues. Make sure your address or addresses are correct. Avoid misleading subject lines. Apply the top of the screen test. Important content at the top before scroll. Write email backwards. Step 1, open a new email. Step 2, download attachment if applicable. Step 3, compose email. Step 4, type subject line. Step 5, type in addresses or addressees. This practice will help prevent embarrassing emails about forgetting the attachment or sending before the message is ready. Edit the thread of your replies to remove parts of the previous email that no longer apply, or begin a new email thread. Avoid anything that might be misinterpreted, such as sarcasm, humor, quotes, or sayings. Email etiquette. Design your messages effectively to obtain the quickest and the most effective replies. Consider cultural differences. You will be sending emails to people from all different cultures and countries. Double check before hitting the send button. Set up the spell check and options of your email account. Use professional email addresses. Email etiquette checklist. Is your message really needed by the recipient? Should your message be a phone call or in-person conversation instead of an email? Is your message for routine rather than sensitive messaging? Email is not typically the best way to communicate a sensitive message. Have you attached all materials referenced in the message? Have you carefully checked that your message is going to the correct recipients? Are you putting something in the email that you would not want someone else to see, such as gossip or talking negatively about someone? The general rule of thumb is if you would not like or would not be comfortable with your message being on the front page of a newspaper, then you should reconsider sending it at all. Has everyone necessary been copied on it? You don't want to offend by leaving someone off. Have you proofread your message carefully? Does your signature avoid offensive quotes? Does it need a quote at all? Email etiquette points to ponder. When you send an email, do you expect a response, an acknowledgement, any way of knowing if your email was received? What do you do when you receive an email? Do you take for granted that someone received your email even though you did not receive any type of response? Do you think they are working on some type of answer to possibly never received email? Answers. The solution to all 4 questions from either the sender or the recipient's point of view is simply to respond immediately. Although you may not be able to address or answer the question from the email, just let them know that you are actually received it and you will get back as quickly as you can. Emails are interactive communications. Treat them as such. Here's an email example. In the 2, it's to Michael. The subject line is REQ, required. Your reactions to our casual dress policy. Okay? Mike, should we revamp our casual dress policy? I am asking you and other members of our management team to consider the questions below as we decide whether to change our policy. As you know, we adopted a casual business attire program several years ago. Some employees saw it as employment benefit. To others, it was a disaster because they did not know how to dress casually and still look professional. Since we originally adopted the policy, times have changed and the trend seems to be moving back toward more formal business attire. Here are some questions to consider. What is acceptable to wear on dress down days? Should our policy restrict body art, tattoos, and piercings? How should supervisors react when clothing is offensive, tasteless, revealing, or sloppy? It is possible to develop a uniform definition of acceptable casual attire. Do the disadvantages of dress down policy outweigh the advantages? Should we refine our dress down policy or eliminate it? Please give careful thought to the questions so that we can discuss them at our management meeting on April 17th. Bill. And then he wrote down all his contact information. Note that the subject line summarizes the main idea of the message and uses REQ, or action required, to remind the receiver that a response is required. The email opens with the receiver's name to express friendliness and mark the beginning of the message. The email starts directly, amplifies the main idea, and explains and discusses the topic. As you look further into the message, notice that the writer uses document design, in this example bullets, to improve readability. Also, consider columns, headings, enumerations, number lists, and so forth. In the closing, the writer uses appropriate closing etiquette by restating the requested action and dates or deadlines. The final portion of the email contains full contact information. And here is a list of more email resources on email etiquette. This wraps up this section. Thank you.